Your lecture was terrific.
Oh, you think so? You were snoring so loud I didn't think you'd heard it.
Oh hoo hoo, that hurts.
You must travel a lot.
Yes, to Africa, mainly.
I suppose having all this voodoo stuff sitting around doesn't make you nervous at all.
It's Voodoun stuff, and no, why should it?
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
Well, let's ask him about stuff.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
The guy's still sore about that.
What can you tell?
You already sat through.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit, to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood, treats voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing or the power they're playing with.
Let's just skip to himself first.
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight, I'm 35, a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse, in religious studies. I'm an agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual, when I practice sex at all, which isn't very often. Any other questions?
No.
Fine.
Well, this guy, Professor Hartridge, I'll look at him afterwards, but his name is Professor Hartridge. I did not want to know all that about him. Absolutely not.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of Voodoun practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
The Catholic Church has always dominated in New Orleans, and its imagery, in turn, has dominated New Orleans voodoo.
What else?
If there's more you wish to know, perhaps you should read my books.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
Do you know any...
I'm not a zoologist.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. But June 23rd has been a sacred day since the earliest times. Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill to celebrate the sun's descent on that day.
A burning wheel? Huh. What can you tell me about...
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself, Mr. Knight.
Sort of reminds you of all these college professors that you've had before. Well, maybe since he's a professor, he might know what caprice encore means.
Do you have any idea what caprice encore means?
Caprice encore. Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in Voodoun are usually of the animal variety. Chickens, wolves, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
What was that translation for
I'm not in the
Well, luckily Gabriel has a mini tape recorder that's got all this down.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of Voodoun somewhat interesting from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true Voodoun practices.
Do you know anything
I'm not in the...
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks, totems, are used extensively in most African Voodoun religions.
Extensively, huh? Well, maybe we should get that animal mask. This is something to think about.
Tell me about bebés.
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you wouldn't have to ask.
Tape recorded it, Maestro. Don't need to take notes.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
I'm afraid I can't help you there, Mr. Knight.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's very rare. Most Voodoun practices do not include human sacrifice as a matter of record, but it is theoretically possible if that's the gods demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Erzulie, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it. If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, oh, where will we find one? Erzulie is the gentlest of Loa, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Hungan tremble before a possession by one of the more violent Loa, such as Papa Needle. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that the Loa will simply take it for themselves.
Anything else?
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most Voodoun sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
What if we show them stuff? Like this.
Is there anything you can tell me about the voodoo aspects of this photograph?
This is serious Voodoun ritual. Nasty stuff.
In what way?
Let's see. I can't make out much detail from this photograph. Except for the corpse, of course. But the wound, the face, and what little I can see of the ritual paraphernalia. Reminds me of certain black Voodoun practices. Very rare. I've never witnessed them myself, you understand.
Really? Interesting. Thanks.
It's disgusting. That photo that we had seen, that Mosley had given us in the beginning. Wow. Gabriel, what have you gotten yourself into? Well, what about this? Does he know anything about this?
Can you tell me anything about this?
No, I've never seen those symbols. Therefore, they're probably meaningless.
Really? Are you sure?
I am never wrong, Mr. Knight. Therefore, sure is not in my vocabulary.
What a stuck-up prick. Well, if he's so sure, maybe he knows something about this. The Veve.
Can you tell me anything about this pattern?
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Mind if I copy this?
Be my guest.
Great. I'll be right back.
World's fastest copy machine.
Here you go. You know, this is a fascinating Veve. You must tell me all about its origin.
Actually, I was hoping you'd tell me. Can you figure out anything about it from the symbols?
Well, some. That's why I wanted a copy. I want to research the design myself. Each of the symbols in the Veve represents something, a Loa, a place. Where did you get this?
Have you heard of the Voodoo murders?
No, you're kidding. Really? Then the Voodoo is authentic. The newspapers are wrong. Boy, are they wrong.
You think this Veve is authentic, then?
Authentic? Mr. Knight, that's like asking if the Mona Lisa is a painting. Tell you what, I'll look into these symbols myself and see what I can learn about the sect that made this. I'll give you a call when I have more information. You are associated with the police, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I'm, undercover. You can contact me at the St. George's bookshop in the quarter.
All right. Now, I'd like to get started on this if you don't mind.
Well, Gabriel has certainly improved his lying skills from when he saw Malia.
I'll be going.
Oh, do keep in touch.
Not so enthusiastic.